Hi everybody, it's Randy. I thought I would report to you about a date I went on last night, or a meeting, first meeting. So I hadn't met anybody probably in like 3 weeks or so. Some guy from around here had messaged me on a dating site while I was in Florida. He looked okay, so I figured, okay, I'll tell him that I'll meet him when I get back. And so I messaged him back and told him I had returned from Florida. And so we met yesterday. So the only significant real things about him on his profile were that he was, okay looking, 49 years old, lived nearby, and said he was a mechanic, which I said, I've told everyone I'm fine with blue collar guys who don't have at least a bachelor's degree. The reason is not really that I prefer it, but I do understand that men who are my age, typically around where I live, do not have any bachelor's degrees, so I would really be limiting myself if I was trying to make college education one of my requirements. And the other thing I also know is that there's plenty of blue collar jobs that actually they earn as much, if not more, than someone who has a bachelor's degree and who's working in retail or something like that. So blue collar work is not a problem for me. Plumbers, electricians, carpenters, all that is fine, and I have no problem with that. So anyway, we met, and upon first impression, he looked okay. He was tall enough, probably like 6 foot. My requirement is just 5'10" or over. I think 5'10" is not asking too much. Any shorter than that, I don't feel comfortable with. So we ordered a beer. So he began talking. He didn't use like a whole lot of eye contact. He was not really like turning his chair toward me and facing me as we sat at the bar, which I did turn my body toward him to kind of face him, so we're not just like both parallelly staring at the bartender or something. And he kind of looked more straight off and was talking, not really glancing over once in a while, but not really giving 100% attention and eye contact as he spoke. So I'm sitting there like listening, asking questions and stuff, and I notice, he opens his mouth a little bit more, and I notice he's got rotten teeth. It's like, shit, okay, figures. So he's got like some crooked and some small kind of rotten teeth, and I mean, totally makes a difference, right? So this guy's kind of decent looking. If he closes his mouth, he opens his mouth, and he has not taken care of his teeth. So that was a total turnoff. And then he talked about a little bit about the dating sites. He's only been on it for 3 months. He's only been divorced for a year. He said he doesn't really have time for the dating site too much. He finds that people play games on there, and I asked him to explain a little bit more about what he meant about playing games. And he explained that one woman gave him her phone number through the dating site, and he called her and talked to her, and he asked her what she was looking for, and she said she was looking for a relationship, and then proceeded to give him prices, give him the fees for the sexual favors that she would offer. right after she told him she was looking for a relationship. So he, you know, said no, he wasn't interested in that. And he was explaining to me that, you know, why did she say she was looking for a relationship? And I explained to him that, you know, these younger people use these different code words, date, relationship, hooking up, all these different slang words or different words that older people know the meaning of. Younger people have distorted the meaning of those words. And, you know, this woman was obviously a prostitute, but she said she was looking for a relationship. So at some point, certain people think the word relationship means relations, not relationship. So I told him, you know, yeah, you really have to clarify a lot, especially when you're talking to somebody who's quite a bit younger than us. They don't have the same meanings for words. Even some of the people, you know, in their 40s and 50s also will distort words and meanings, and you always have to clarify what they really mean by what they say. Then he, you know, got real serious with me and asked me what I look for in a man. And oh my gosh, he really put me on the spot, because this is an area, you know, of contention for me. I've already made a video about it. When guys on the dating site will ask me through the dating site, through a message, well, what do you look for in a guy? And I always say, you know, that's for me to know and you to find out. Like, I'm not going to list all the requirements so that you can decide that you fit that. I decide what, you know, I decide what they fit and what they don't fit. And I decide if, you know, there's deal breakers. I decide if I'm attracted. You know, I don't give them the list and then, you know, so they can either decide that they do fit it, they don't fit it, or pretend that they fit it. It's like, it's my list, you know, I decide. You don't need to know what my list is, you know. I'm not going to tell you ahead of time. You'll find out. You'll find out if I flirt with you, if I touch your arm, if I'm smiling a lot, and if I invite you over for dinner. That means that you must have fit some requirements, at least initially. If I'm constantly asking you questions, I'm kind of bored, I'm not smiling a lot, I don't feel any chemistry, you know, I have a couple beers and, you know, call it a night, then obviously you didn't fit it. But, you know, I don't think it's appropriate to give you my list and explain to you why, you know, oh, I didn't like your rotten teeth, you know. Obviously, he knows he has rotten and crooked teeth. I also told him that, you know, I wasn't going to tell him all of my list of things that I look for, because a lot of times it's more of a feeling than it is concrete, tangible things that I'm looking for. It's like the feeling that you get when you're with somebody that's, I don't know, fun, humorous, they have some swag, they have hair, they're intelligent, they seem to have some ambition, they're available, they're attentive, those kind of things. I'm not about to give some guy this list so that he can, you know, either try to be that, or I don't know. I don't even know why he asked that, but I had never been asked that in person. So it was kind of being put on the spot. Then he went on to say after that he's gotten more wise in his years, and he's learned not to rule a woman out if she had like small boobs or a flat butt, but if she's intelligent, that he could overlook maybe a couple of those like physical qualities. So I don't know, maybe he was sensing that, you know, I didn't like his teeth, and maybe hinting around that, you know, oh, I should just overlook maybe some certain physical qualities, you know, like, and gave me the example on how he overlooks this, or he will overlook that because he really values intelligence. I told him, shit, most guys don't. They don't really care about the woman's intelligence at all. In fact, a lot of them prefer that she be dumb and that she has some kind of like a real low level retail job, or, you know, be a clerk at Home Depot. And he said no, he did value someone who had a good job and education and intelligence. And I said, oh, good for you, you know. That's not really mostly the case. He thought that came with age and intelligence. I mean, age and wisdom. That I guess he's saying he doesn't look as much for the physical, but he just named a couple. I mean, big, you know, if she had small boobs, he can overlook that. If she has a flat butt, he can overlook that. Okay, well, you know, I probably can overlook some things, but certain things I can't overlook, and one of them would be rotten teeth. So then the last thing that was kind of a turnoff to me, that even though he had said on his profile he was a mechanic, and he is a mechanic currently, but he's only been a mechanic for General Motors, contracting for General Motors for a few years, and prior to that, most of his career he was a trucker. And it's like, oh my God, no, I can't do that. I do have something against truckers. I have a stereotype in my mind about truckers, and I am not going to date a trucker, a former trucker. No, not interested. You know, it's different, like if it's like a courier, a delivery guy, you know, UPS or something, but not a trucker, not a guy that's going over the road and overnight and sleep in his truck and going to truck stops. I mean, I just can't get past the nasty ideas of what's going on in the past, and I just can't. I can't do it. So then, you know, I could tell he was real proud of his trucking days and showed me his picture of a big old truck that had a PlayStation in it and a TV and a generator and, you know, some souped up truck. It's like, oh no. So anyway, I mean, that was my date. That's typically, you know, the kind of guys I meet, one way or the other, they just don't fit. They don't fit something that I'm attracted to overall. But it was a decent time, lasted about 2 hours, and then I was out of there. And at the end, he walked me toward my car and, you know, asked me, am I going to see you again? Oh my God, I hate when they say that. I mean, any guy that I want to see again has never said, am I going to see you again? Only the ones that I'm not going to see will ask that. And they ask it point blank, am I going to see you again? I said, you know, I don't know, maybe. I know I must have acted like, you know, I was such a bitch, like such under pressure, like, oh my God, don't ask me that, or am I going to see you again? Because obviously the answer is no, but you can't say no. So I just said, I don't know, maybe, and smiled, and I shook his hand. Oh my gosh. So I'm sure he got the message. But that's one of my typical dates. I thought I'd report to you guys. You guys can get your amusement for the day out of that. I'm going to keep trying, and have a great day.